Why blacks fail. Let me start by telling you why I'm making this video. It's not to insult blacks, it's not to bully blacks, it's not to make white people feel good about the color of their skin. Rather, it's because I quite like you black folk. I find you refreshing, upbeat, inspirational to be around. I'm a strong advocate that the different human races are more different than the aliens on Star Trek. All the aliens just have different political philosophies. The human races are far more diverse, far more different, and I find our differences inspirational. Other races think about things in ways that I could never think about them. And there's nothing that upsets me more than this cookie-cutter society trying to turn everybody into corporate drones, to corporate cogs, into replaceable parts for some Leviathan machine, and destroying the true diversity in exchange for that fake diversity, where everybody thinks the same, but they have different colors of skin. That sickens me. But, I think, who was it? Holder, that said, let's have an honest conversation about race. Well, he's a lying sack of filth. But nonetheless, let's have an honest conversation about race. Simple fact of the matter is that there's a great deal of failure in black communities. And I'm making this video because I'd like to address one of the big things behind this. The big things that trips up the most brilliant members of the black race. And it boils down to pride. What I really admire about you black folk is the way that you will have sudden insights into things. You see this with rap. Rap is all about this spontaneity of making these very quick, very fast observations and analogies onto what's going on. Like that's the heart of black culture. You take jazz. Jazz is all about the improvisation. You take a basic melody and you improv over top of that. Blacks have this weird ability that I don't understand to make these sudden insights, to come up with these sudden genius ideas. And I can tell you why it's a genius idea, but I can't come up with that idea in the first place. It's absolutely amazing. And yet, the majority of blacks that come up with these ideas, the ideas never go anywhere. Why is that? Well, as I've said in other videos, the most important emotion for blacks is status. For whites, it's guilt. Asians, it's shame. Blacks, it's status. All right? We're all a little bit different in the way that we emote, the way that we cogitate. And what will happen is that a black guy he'll have one idea that is absolutely brilliant, that is revolutionary, an idea that could make him a millionaire. But then he'll let his baser nature take control of him. And because he had this one really good idea, he'll decide that every other idea that he has is equally as brilliant. He'll accomplish something in one field and then demand respect in all these other fields. And in all these other fields, he's mediocre. He's not terrible, but he's not great. And so because he mixes this one bit of brilliance with a whole bunch of mediocre, he comes up with a mediocre project, a mediocre product. It's as if a black guy was designing a car, if a black guy ran a car company, he would have a great idea about the aerodynamics of the vehicle, for instance. He'd come up with a vehicle that looked great, it was incredibly stylish, but the engine under the hood would be garbage. The interior would be garbage. The air conditioner would break down. All because he was too prideful, too arrogant to let other people come in and compliment his idea. Basically, the DeLorean, that's the sort of car that a black guy would have invented. Brilliant exterior, brilliant gull-wing doors. Not a very good car, though. One brilliant idea mixed with a whole bunch of mediocre. And so what happens to you black folk is because so often you have this brilliant idea, but you can't let other experts come in. You know, you can't let the expert for the engine come in, the expert for the interior, etc., etc. You'll have a brilliant script for a movie, but then you'll insist upon directing it. You'll insist upon controlling all the special effects, and you're not good at those things. So you ruin the whole thing. But what happens sometimes is that a white guy or an Asian guy comes along. And they see this brilliant idea that you have. This brilliant innovation. But they also see that you're not going anywhere with it. So they offer to be your manager. And then you become Kanye West. You become a guy that has a real talent, that has a real brilliance, and yet falls prey to his own arrogance, and pisses off the entire consumer base with his antics. You know, and winds up degrading your own product. You wind up destroying that one brilliant idea you have because you can't accept criticism and you don't want to collaborate. And so your manager winds up making $1 million off of your one brilliant idea. And then you make $1 million, but you ruin your brilliant idea with all the mediocre ideas, and you fall into obscurity. Meanwhile, the manager that made $1 million off you, he knows you're going to fail. And he's already got the next one lined up down the road. He stays a millionaire while you fail and fall into obscurity. Listen to your preachers more. The black preachers constantly talk about how black youth are ruining themselves because they get $100 into their bank account and they blow that on a pair of sneakers to look like a cool kid. And they look like a cool kid for a couple of months while those sneakers are new. And then they go nowhere. As opposed to thinking in the long term and being humble. Realizing that the way that you become number one isn't by being the best at everything, but being the best at one thing. And accepting constructive criticism for all those other things and collaborating with other experts. There's enough glory to be shared by everybody. It's when you try and hog it for yourself that it winds up slipping through your fingers like sand. Harini out, folks.